Welcome to the I Hate Insurance podcast. Say goodbye to fake coverage full of exclusions, gaps, and fine print. We are exposing the old school insurance world, showing you what real partnerships look like. So in today's episode, we'll discuss a recent roundtable we attended for motocross track owners. Motocross track owners around the country are dealing with insurance companies canceling, non-renewing, and limiting coverage. If you're a track owner, listen to today's episode. We review some of the things we learned from the roundtable and how we can provide coverage for the long haul. So the talking points, we got a few today. The first one on the roundtable call, they had a plaintiff attorney that reviewed a case he took. He got a $40 million verdict.
Okay, so
did he actually get the $40 million?
Yeah, no, he can't get $40 million. All of those headlines that people use are fake. They're to manipulate the system and scare everybody. And, Parker was talking to him, right? He sends me, and I just attend these meetings with him. I hadn't talked to him, so I didn't know what to expect. But, we talk about partnership. So what do good partners do? When you hit a bump in the road, they don't abandon you. They stick with you through the tough times. So the motocross tracks went through this in 1988, just like Joe Royer and all the helicopter ski guides, Peter Levitt, Exum, Rod Newcomb, all the guys that are world-class guides, and anything in recreation, skating rinks, whatever, went through this in 1985. And it's always about the release forms and injuries and,
And minors was a big thing.
Yeah, minors is always a big thing. It was a big thing in 85. The lawyers are naysayers. They say that, oh, that's no good, that's no good. 40 years I've been learning this. And when you live actual cases with people and you win a lot, we win 80% or more of the cases that we take to trial. And if you're wrong, if you did something wrong, you should just go pay them. You shouldn't screw around and let the lawyers suck the life, the money, your time, everything out of it. And so insurance companies do exactly what they shouldn't do. They just take your money, hoping you're not going to have a claim. That's what they think underwriting is. And what you should stop doing is look at the claims and how you're going to manage them and the outcomes you can impact. And everybody's focused on the premium. That's why I have the shirts that say, I don't compete with stupid. There's some, roofers, whatever, you throw out stupid pricing, it scares people. With insurance, they like it. It's like, I'm never going to have a claim anyway. So they think they've won by, buying cheap insurance. So anyway, if I could have scripted this call, I couldn't have scripted it any better. And again, I go in and so there's 60 motocross tracks on the call.
Yeah, there was.
And it was a Zoom and it was recorded.
Yeah.
And to me, that's key. So there's an insurance agent who I've never met. He says he's done business with us, but he's mainly written motocross tracks with K&K, who's a big broker owned by Aon, which is one of the biggest brokers in the world. K&K has always done motorsports, and they still do. They have a program. We, as the boat races, most of the events and teams are insured by K&K, right? So this call, we get on, and we're second. This lawyer's first, and this lawyer's telling his story where he won a $40 million judgment, right?
Right.
So as he goes on, I've been doing this so long, I'm like 3 steps ahead of him. I know where he's going. So you basically, they get tired of hearing the story, and I jump in and I say, so you got a $40 million fake judgment, because I know he can't collect it, right? So then he goes on to tell that the guy didn't have insurance. And I said, well, from the description of the accident, the owner of the track was in the woods on a track hoe, and he hit a tree and it fell over. And as this guy was going by on the track practicing, the tree hit him in the head and killed him instantly. And his daughter was there watching. Terrible accident, I've been dealing with those for 40 years. Oh, I could tell so many stories you wouldn't believe it, but it was an accident. He didn't want to injure anybody. He didn't think that it was dangerous, or he wouldn't have been doing it. So anyway, I told the lawyer, I said, with the facts you just told, I would have just paid you the limit. And he admitted that when an insurance company just pays the limit, the lawyers have to take it, right?
Yeah.
So if you had a $500,000 limit, they had to take it. If you have a $100,000 limit, they have to take it. At that point, if they don't take it, they're in trouble. So insurance companies that don't get reported these accidents, I mean, some of them write policies that exclude participants. I don't think this guy had coverage. It wouldn't have mattered if he did have coverage. It would have excluded participants. So, we have never done that. We include participants. You got to have a plan that solves the insured's problem when something does happen. And it can happen, and it will happen eventually. And even if it doesn't happen to you, it happens to somebody else in your industry.
But motocross is an inherent risk sport. So, I mean, stuff does happen and can happen. But, I mean,
those helicopter skiing.
How could this claim have been prevented?
It couldn't have been a guy not go out on the track, the guy not knock over the tree.
So,
but that's all water under the bridge. It doesn't matter.
Future track owners, when they have their track in operation, they should have an area they put their equipment and don't have it around the track.
I mean, there's been accidents where they got water trucks on the course and guys land on them.
Yeah.
So when you're liable, in those cases, you pay. 99% of the accidents, you're not liable. The track we've quoted in LA before this call, and we re-quoted it after the call and reduced the price significantly because we got more into it and had a partnership approach with them. So the pricing is something that, is, you don't want to be too cheap so that when shit happens, you leave. You want to collect enough money so that you can deal with it. And you have to have a strategy, right? So again, the track in LA had a big limit, like $5 million, right? They had a claim where a kid took a triple, broke both legs, and the carrier paid $1.3 million. Yeah, you do not have to pay that. Risk. You don't have to pay that, whether it's a minor or an adult. If you do things right, as an insurance company, we work with you to make sure you're doing everything right so that when inherent activities happen, like Sains versus Whitewater Voyages, which is the rafting case in California in the late 80s, where my insured had somebody fall out of the boat and drowned. He had a little daughter. It was his estate suing, and we took it to the Supreme Court. Every lawyer said we were going to lose, and the Supreme Court upheld the release and changed what all the lawyers are saying. So, lawyers are looking in the rearview mirror. They're not looking forward. And I've never in 40 years had a lawyer that wants to fight a case.
Right. Even the Sains versus Whitewater lawyer. And that's a case
he told me I was going to lose.
And anyone can look up that case online and we'll put it on YouTube. We'll put the link to the case in the description so you can go and.
The guy, Dominic Spinelli was his name, the lawyer. He wrote a book on it after, like he's an expert.
Right.
And he told me we were going to lose. So, I'm convinced that nobody's leading, right? They're all afraid. And again, we've been managing claims since 1985 nationwide. And there's, legal hellholes. They put out this list every year of legal hellholes. Chicago, Miami, New Jersey, New York. It's all fake news. We win cases in all those jurisdictions. But we have a good partner, we have good facts, and we spend the extra money to go to court and win. It's not cheaper to win, but you're protecting your insured and the whole industry. That's why I got so fired up on that call, because here they are back in the same spot again, just like Florida homeowners.
And they're listening to the same insurance.
Yeah, they keep buying the same turd. Right? If you sold me a turd, I wouldn't come back to buy another turd.
Yeah.
So I don't get this. It's stupid. So yeah, I get passionate. I tell people now I'm a preacher. I'm an insurance preacher. Right? So if insurance people were like preachers and cared about their insured like their congregation, we could have a fantastic world. We could use the legal system to our advantage. And the best example of all of this now, whether you like Trump or not, is he didn't ever give up. He either won or when he lost, he appealed. You know, appellate courts are there for a reason. Insurance companies do not appeal, right? I've never had an insurance company that would work with me on an appeal. Since I own the insurance company now, Prime Insurance Company, A-rated, all 50 states, the lawyers listen to me. They know we can pay them. I'm not the agent or broker anymore trying to convince people that we're right. We put our money up, started our own insurance company so we could help people without having to talk other people in that aren't comfortable. Lawyers and insurance companies are not comfortable with litigation.
So, I mean, the biggest thing that everyone kept asking was minors. We kind of went over that. Then they keep saying, what is the biggest thing that track owners can do to manage their risk? So even if you do manage your risk and do what you can, if you don't have a company like Prime and
you're dead.
Someone that has the control like you're
dead
really
like they are now. You're dead like they are now. So again, the way you run a track is you do it like everything else, right? You think ahead of the ball. You think, okay, well, if this guy goes and crashes, what would it be good for me to know? So when people come, you have them sign a release form, just like a ski rental shop. You should get basic information from them. Are you a novice? Are you an expert? Have you raced before? How often do you race? Get general information so that you know your client. And then when accidents happen, you shepherd them through it. You take them to the hospital. You call the ambulance. You follow up with them, and you stay in touch with them so they don't have to go get an attorney. You talk to them. And, you know, I told the tracks that have called us since that meeting, you know, this soccer industry is probably one of the biggest, you know, youth soccer around the country. Soccer isn't an expensive sport to play like hockey. So the soccer programs have two policies. A liability policy, and they got a medical, accident medical, AD&D, accidental death and dismemberment for $50,000. So you have two separate policies.
So the most the participant can get is $50,000.
Well, the way they structure it, and again, this is, you know, I'm exposing the agents. They're not going to like it. But when you buy life, AD&D is the highest commission. Right? So they like selling AD&D, and it's profitable. Okay, so they call and they just want us to cover the liability. I'm like, well, what's up with the liability? And they're like, well, we get sued and it's not profitable and we're looking for a new market. So, you know, what happens, somebody gets injured and you pay the medical and then they sue you anyway. So why would you buy the medical? So in the 80s, when we solved all the other recreational problems, and I hope all the other insurance companies copy us and do this, there is no secret sauce. It's common sense. You embed the medical in the liability policy. That's what we do. We call it excess medical.
Every other policy has medical, 10,000.
Well, but that's premises medical. And again, it's a benefit you have to pay. And then they sue you anyway.
Right.
So back in the 80s, first thing they did was they removed the medical. Well, that doesn't help you because the people still sue you. So you have to have a strategy that ends it efficiently. So, you know, our medical, excess medical, is our choice to pay. We don't have to pay it if you're going to sue us. So, you know, if the limit's 50 and you want 55, we'd pay you 55, but we're going to get a release. We're going to end the case. Right. One policy is the key. And the same happens with homeowners in Florida. The problem in all these hurricanes is always they sue over wind and flood. That's what the lawyers call it. It's the wind flood argument. How easy is it for us to give them both and eliminate the lawyers? Just bench them. Just do the right thing. Yeah. Do not take people's money and try and do half the job. And that's always the insurance industry's answer. You know, they do bars, and then they have a liquor claim, so they renew the bar, but they make you buy separate liquor. Now you have two policies that don't work together and both of them are involved. So you're adding more lawyers. Anything that adds more policies or more lawyers, you ought to be thinking about as a buyer. You want an insurance company that's your partner and gives you everything you need. They don't do half the job. You can't be half pregnant. So, this is an insurance strategy that requires a good partnership with the industry and the insureds. And we've been knocking it out of the park for 40 years now. And everybody thinks I'm stupid in the insurance business. So I'm at the point in my life where I don't give a shit anymore, right? This is so simple that all the other insurance companies should just start doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You can't do, how do you do all these homes in Utah and most of them don't have earthquakes. So if an earthquake ever happened here, what do you think is going to happen?
Or mudslide, all the houses in Bountiful on the side of the hill.
What happens is a bunch of lawsuits, but a mudslide's only 3 houses. A tornado might be 45.
An earthquake is a lot.
I know, it will be. It'll be big. And then everybody looks to the government. Well, who's the government? Where does the government get their money? From us.
Giving it all to Ukraine.
So, the government should get out of the insurance business and tell the insurance companies, we're done. We ain't covering you anymore. If you take the World Trade Center's money, you got to include terrorism, and they got to pay the right premium. Why are we all subsidizing one of the biggest property owners in the country when he's really the only one that needs it? The barber shop and the local grocery store, they're really not a terrorist target, although they are becoming more. Just like, the whole Remington firearms case where, they went bankrupt, right? They settled the lawsuit. Okay, this whole strategy thing, again, when you're in a lawsuit, why would you settle it and go bankrupt? That just shows that you had no strategy. You had bad advice, insurance company that wasn't your partner, right? They didn't take care of you, because what's supposed to happen is a good outcome when shit that can happen does happen. And it is so simple, a caveman could do it. If the tree hits him, if you're at fault, you settle it. So Remington settling that case, so this guy that ran over everybody in New Orleans, do you think the Ford truck that he rented, are they going to sue Ford? Are they going to sue the rental company? If they do, they should never pay.
Same with the Tesla. Are they going to sue
It's
Tesla
not their fault. Well, again, they'll try anything if you pay them. The insurance industry has been paying these guys forever. And again, I used to hate plaintiffs' attorneys. Well, I still kind of hate them. But they're just doing their job. And you need to match your opponent's level of, commitment and representing your client. And every time the industry gets in trouble or whatever, insurance companies abandon them.
And then cancel.
California wildfire and homeowners is the latest one. It's the same as flood, though. It's, the insurance companies really don't want to take risk. What they want to do now is what all states doing. They'll sell you a warranty on anything you buy at Walmart. They'll sell you LifeLock that protects your credit. I can save you some money right now. You can lock your credit and nobody can steal your identity.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy LifeLock. To protect your mortgage, have a mortgage on it and nobody can steal it. If you've paid off your home, put a lien on it.
Yeah.
Get a line of credit at the bank. Do something that is a roadblock to them taking your stuff. But, the insurance industry, again, I wonder how many people are buying home warranty or home theft protection, so they don't steal your warranty, that have loans and stuff that they could never. The only way I could steal is if you own it outright.
Yeah. So if you're a track owner and you want a good partner, you're doing everything you can to manage the risk, someone that will fight for you, give us a call today. We also insure all kinds of recreational mud bogs, UTV rentals, not just motocross. So
the big ATV parks, campgrounds, anything rental, boat rental, jet ski rental, anything recreational. And again, it's, recreation is the problem is coming back because it really wasn't dealt with properly. So that's my disappointment, is the motocross tracks could have made the right decision 25 years ago and had gone with me instead of K&K or whoever they went with. So the other interesting thing about that Zoom call, I asked for a copy of the recording, which they won't give us.
And they sent us it on YouTube, and now it's gone. So we would share the roundtable with everyone. But.
So again, I think because we were on it and we're part of it, we're entitled to it. So they should just give it to us so we don't have to force them. But, you know, there was an agent on there, again, I didn't know. And, you know, he started talking and I asked him, well, what's your strategy? What company did you place it with? And he basically said, I could lose my license if I tell you that. And I said, dude, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You know, everybody tells that's what you got to tell people.
And then he basically muted himself.
And then he said, I'm not going to say anything because I could lose my license. He said that again. So anyway, I don't understand what he's afraid of. I think, you know, all these guys know that what they've done hasn't worked. Historically, it feeds the lawyers. And everything insurance companies do now is exactly the opposite of what they should if you want to bench the lawyers. Take the lawyers out of it.
How many motocross tracks around the country? This is a good question. Maybe people can answer that are motocross track owners. How many guys that have been in it for 20, 30 years have had one insurance carrier or know of one insurance carrier that's actually been in the industry?
Yeah, and there isn't. I can answer that for you. They haven't had the same company. And on the firearms and all of these.
How many recreation businesses have we insured that we've insured for 30 years? That have
35
had deaths,
years, thousands.
Exum Mountain Guides,
death,
Ruby
Jim
Mountain
Bridwell.
Heliskiing. So all of it's really the same. It's all recreation, and it's inherent
Well, and we
risk.
do motocross tracks. We did the one down in St. George for a while, and you know, he was a dirt work guy. Like
you went and met with that father-son we insured for a long time, Jan Barr. When you were flying, I think that's their name, but I don't know if we insure them still. But yeah, I mean, you guys can answer
they know
that.
Agent. They know what agent they're with. I'll ask people, what company are you with? And they'll say, I'm with K&K, or I'm with Chirillo, or I'm with Buckner. You know, that's not the company. And your agent, he basically presents the risk and delivers the quote. And, you know, he might have some juice with the market to get you a better rate, or, you know, they advise you to drop the values on your buildings, which is how people think they save money. But when you drop the value on your building, yeah, you're going to save money. But when you have a claim, you're going to have a co-insurance penalty. You can't even afford the deductible you have. And now you're going to have a bigger slice of the pie because of the co-insurance penalty you're going to have. And, you know, if I take your money, that's what I'm thinking, right? I'm not going to insure you for the wrong value. And what does a claim look like? And this is what it looks like. And I know what it looks like because I manage claims. So, you know, all the agents, they don't manage claims. They report it to the company, and the company normally outsources it to somebody else. Like in the hurricanes, we went down there. We met with the insureds, and within weeks, we're writing them checks. Everybody else has an adjuster show up with a clipboard, and they're waiting 6 months to get a
check.
No, not even a check, just an offer. What the damage is, what the adjuster says they're paying. You know, your roof was old, and so they're not paying you for the roof, right? If your roof's 20 years old, insurance doesn't pay for it. But I deal with that when we underwrite it. That's called underwriting. I say, Parker, your roof is 20 years old. I'm not insuring your roof. You need to repair that. I'll insure you now. Go get it repaired in the next 3 to 6 months.
Or you exclude the roof.
Yeah, well, again, that's hard to do because a bad plan ends up in a dead-end road, and then dead-end roads, you go to a lawyer because you have no choice. That's why if a buyer wants cheap insurance, I don't want to deal with them. A buyer should want a good value and be able to sleep at night And homes are the most valuable asset people have, and none of them are insured properly. And we can give you a quote same day if you need it. I'm not going to do same day quotes if you don't need it. If it renews in 6 months, no, we'll do it, a couple weeks out. Yeah. We'll get you a quote. We'll give you everything you need. If you can pay a big portion, you can pay your own flood claim. Okay, so you're 100% insured on your flood. So instead of having a deductible, we share risk on a percentage basis. So that, if you have a $50,000 claim and you take 5% of the risk, you'll pay $2,500 and I'll pay $47,500. And most people say, I can take more risks than that. So, all the insurance companies think I'm stupid because they don't pay those claims. They're like, well, you're going to get killed. We don't pay those claims. Well, when you get sued and you spend the money defending it and the lawyers get rich, you're spending more money. So this is about a decision that everybody has to make. Insurers have to decide, do it right or don't do it, because you're making lawyers rich. Buyers have to decide, I want real protection. I want a partner. I don't want a policy that's going to go away if I ever use it. And, if you talk to people in Florida or anybody and they have late reported claims, I ask them, why didn't you report it on time? Because when you don't report claims on time, the carriers can now deny the claim. So you should report them anyway, but most people don't. Why? Because they know they're going to get canceled if they have a claim. So really everybody knows they have turds. They don't have real insurance. They buy fake insurance because it's cheap. So,
if you're a motocross track owner, we want you to report any incident.
Everybody, any insured. Anything. If you can't report what's going on to your insurance company, they don't understand your business and they shouldn't be insuring you, because you're going to hurt yourself and you're going to hurt the whole industry that you're in. Now, there's shitty operators in every business and we don't insure them. And when good guys get sued, we defend the good guys. When good guys have an accident that's their fault, we pay it and we keep insuring them.
So if you guys want a partner, give us a call. If you want to hear more preaching from RJL,
I'll preach anytime. Just
you guys
wind
just
me up
follow him on Instagram.
Okay, so
Rick J. Lindsey 74.
This is the I Hate Insurance podcast.
Now we've started a new, what is it? The Chopper Chat. He doesn't like chatting alone though. He thinks it's, I don't have anyone here to chat with. You're chatting with all the people watching and listening too. So
yeah, but I like questions and I want to have people engaged in the conversation. That's why most cases I don't really talk to people unless they ask me about insurance, and then I go on my preaching routine, and then they're just trying to get away from me.
He's just pretty much looking to preach to anyone he can,
because it's my role in life.
I mean, at Rick J. Lindsey 74 on Instagram.
It's not Rick J. Lindsey, is it? Rick Lindsey 74.
We should change it to the insurance preacher, but
it's Rick Lindsey 74.
It's Rick Lindsey 74. So if it doesn't come up under that, you'll see his page. It's got his helicopters. He's live every day. So Rick Lindsey 74 or Rick J. Lindsey 74. But we'll put the link to the Sains versus Whitewater case in the description, in the bio. And if you guys have any questions, let us know. Make sure you answer, of any insurance companies that have been in the motocross world for more than 30 years besides us. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Hey, next time, or as we do this, we should have a question session so that people send in questions.
That's your deal on your live stream. Write down some of the questions people ask you.
They don't.
Yeah, I saw some yesterday when we were live.
I'm flying. I can't.
Sounds
do that.
like you need an AC.
And then they go away.
Sounds like you need an assistant in there. So we're taking assistant, heli, chat operators. So
everybody I take up now. I've been taking people up, and I like it.
And if you're local in Utah or Florida and you want to go up
Chopper
Chat. Hit him up in the DMs, send us an email, or call the office, 801-304-5500. But we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.
Chopper Chat.